In that case, we're gonna go on and we're gonna make a new project this time. And we're gonna call it, we're not gonna touch anything here, nothing here. And we're gonna say class. Actually no. We're gonna call this student. And we're gonna open up in this window and you should be having a fresh new start. So this is where we start learning about classes. Not the places where you also sit awkwardly like right now, but actually Java classes. And not this one where you're sitting awkwardly right now. So we're gonna right click on source in our hierarchy. We're gonna go to new, we're gonna click on Java class, and we're gonna call this student. Anybody need me to slow down? Y'all Gucci?
Me Gucci.
That left a terrible taste in my mouth using that word. All right. So Java class is basically your own homemade thing. It's an object that you can use in any different type of, in any different program. So you know how a string was an uppercase S? String is actually, it's actually an object. Now, what is an object? Like, what's an object in real life?
A table.
Did you say a potato?
I said a table, but you can do potato if you want to.
Yeah, potato, table, chair, asparagus. Yeah, I got that right. So what is the definition of an object in real life? We're not putting that one. I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube. Yeah, this is for a club, but I ain't getting demonetized. Well, we're not. I just don't want to get a strike on YouTube as well. If you haven't seen what's been going on in the old YouTube poop, content creators are now getting strikes for, posting news about Corona.
That's interesting.
I said it. Oh, I said the word.
Maddie, added out like the last 2 minutes or so. Then it will be good.
I don't know, just censor me or something. Even news stations have been getting striked, which is an issue. Now let's talk about an object in the computer world. Like, what's an object that you find online or in a computer? Anyone? Don't come all at me right now. Well, we've got software. Octopus, that's still in real life thing. Think about it like applications, virtual objects. This is talking about strings, integers, text. So when you talk about an object in Java, this is some stack? Yeah, stacks. Stacks are technically objects. So when you talk about an object in Java, we are talking about a container of data, of of etc. Anything you want to put into this object, it exists in there. So when we talk about an object in Java, we're going to think about strings, uppercase integer, uppercase double, uppercase character. These are all objects. So if I want to make, a special object called rectangle, I'm going to have to build the features for it. And that's what we're going to do today, but this time with a student. So I don't want anybody else to access my data for the student. You don't want people accessing your student ID, how much money you have for your tuition, where you live, right? So I'm going to say these are private int, and we're going to say student ID num. And I'm going to just end it there. We're going to leave it empty for now. Is anybody confused? Anybody want me to slow down? Oh, I made a mistake saying Gucci. Don't say Gucci. That's very 2017. Not even 2017 was a good year. What's another thing that we want private? What do you not want people to access?
Your name, maybe?
Speak up a little, Sam.
Your name, maybe?
Oh yeah, I guess that's important. So we're going to say private string, and we're going to call this name. Even though this
date of birth
needs to be private, it's still good information to have about your student. Blake, you're not wrong. I just wish you were wrong because 2020 it's a year. It's a year that we're living in.
After this year, it will be the year that no one mentions.
It'll be like the person that we shall not name in Harry Potter.
Voldemort?
Can y'all run with the gags? Oh, God. So also we need our major, string major. And then the last thing I want to add, private double GPA. Don't say that, and it's not going to get worse if we stop ourselves. Don't say that, Roger. Don't say that. It'll get better if we improve it. Right. So we have these private variables no one else can access except for us. Don't say if either. Don't be a downer. Don't be a Debbie Downer. So the next thing we're going to do, in order to make our student, when we want to call this student object inside a new piece of code, we're going to have to construct it. So we're going to create something called a constructor. So a constructor is the method that will automatically build our object. And then we have two different, I would like to call these two different types of constructors. That's how I learned this. We have a parameter constructor And then we have a default constructor. So the easiest one to learn is the default. It's also the easiest one to build. So your default adds in bogus information that we don't know yet. We don't know anything about, like, maybe a new student that we want to come in, or a new teacher, someone coming in, and yet we don't know everything about them. So it auto-fills all of our information. So with placeholders. Well, our parameter constructor, it will look for information we give and set that info. So what we're going to do first, we're going to build our first constructor. And the way you build a constructor is saying public student. And then you just want a parentheses and then the curly braces. And this will be our default constructor. You can tell it's a default constructor. There's nothing in the parentheses. That's how you spell it, right? I think that's how you spell it. I'm not an English major, I'm CS. So we're gonna say our public. So let's say our student ID number is equal to 00001. You'll notice something here. I forgot I didn't do that right. There we go. My bad, I added quotation marks. Thank you, Daniel, for the correction. All right, and then that will be our default ID number. And then let's say, I should break this up into last name and private string first name. Do people still use their middle names?
No, I mean, I don't really use my middle name.
We're not gonna have middle names. We're all special enough in our own ways. All right, and then let's say our first name for this person is equal to John. Or Sam. Sam's a better ambiguous name.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Sam. And then last name, we're gonna say is Doe. Our major, we're going to say is none or NA. And then our GPA, 0.0. Does anyone have any questions? Well, this person doesn't exist, so I'm going to give them a GPA of 0. Technically, we all have a GPA of, it's technically a GPA of 0 over 0 plus 0 over 0, and so on and so forth in a summation, because the way college GPA works is something completely different from high schools and middle schools. I'm not going into the math, but I will drop a link to the college calculator. Very useful. so you put in your course name, A4. Hey, look, 4.0. There you go. You guys can have the GPA for the college. Very useful, especially when you're around midterm time and you're trying to figure out what you need to pass. Anyways, let's get back. Default major. And this is our default GPA. Anybody got any questions? If everyone is good, can I get a pog in chat?
That didn't sound.
Very cool. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, we are now making our parameter constructor. So let's say we do know the student name. So we're gonna say string first name, string last name, and then we know what's their major, string major. And then the last thing we know is their int ID num. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna say student ID num is equal to ID num. We want to say first name is equal to FN because we know what's the first name we're putting in. Last name, can't spell, is equal to LN. String major is equal to major. I see where I made my mistake. Change this major here in the parentheses to just M. That was my mistake. So if you try to use the same word, it's not gonna like that. Java won't like that. Major, and then double, for the GPA, we're just gonna leave as 0.0 still. All right, go on, doggy. Go outside. It's okay. All right, does anyone have any questions? No questions? You'll learn later on an easier way to do this kind, the parameter constructor. But for now, I'm just gonna show the basic or the introductory way to do this, because it sticks in a lot of people's mind about how you can do this without confusing yourself or not breaking anything. Maybe I'll go into more depth later on about different ways to make a constructor, but we'll just leave it as it is. Everyone cool? All right. So next thing we're gonna do, is there a way to have, there is, so all right, so let's say I have everything but let's say I have the GPA. And I know everything else too. This is just an extra one I'm gonna do. I'm going to say this dot last name is equal to this dot last name is equal to last name. In a while. So you can use a keyword called this, and it'll specify like which word you're using or which variable. It's been a while since I've coded. I'm sorry. I'm also a little off my game today. Hello, doggy. Hello. Hello there. All right. I think after I set up this class, I'll teach you guys how to do it. You can start building your teacher. You'll start building a teacher class after I show you how to do this one. So the next thing we're going to do is our getters and setters. There are more formal names for this. I don't remember it because everybody just calls them getters and setters.
I think there's like accessors and mutators or something.
I've heard other people say, I've heard accessors.
Accessors and mutators are the same as getters and setters. It's just like
Yeah.
cooler ways to say it.
Yeah. That's she's trying to. It's just because like she's saying like the names of things, unless there's other things that you're looking for aside from those two.
So when I was trying to learn from a coding book in Tagalog, that's the Filipino language, the translations of getters and setters, translating to English is like retrieval and supplemental. I don't know. It was weird. The way they called while loops was continuous stream, something like that. That was
sounds like a move.
translation.
That sounds almost like a move from an anime.
This was also a really old Tagalog book, so so getters, they retrieve, and they're your methods that retrieve info. I don't speak Tagalog that well or at all. I know some. I just wouldn't prefer using it to code. Setters is setting your information. So what kind of information I'm setting and I'm getting? Well, I want to get all of this stuff. So let's say I am going to public string get first name. And I'm going to say return first name. So remember, I'll just do it up here. Getters don't have parameters. Did I use the correct spelling of parentheses? One.
It looks like it. Oh no, wait, there's an E. It's P-A-R-E-N. I'll just paste it in again. It's a weird word.
They don't have parameters and they return something. You know what? That's very true. Uppercase 9 and 0. Yes, those are the things you use.
Uppercase 9 and 0. That's a good one.
So now setters have parameters. Can I spell parameter? pointers. There. And don't return anything. So what do I mean when I don't return anything? Take a look down here into our public method for getting a first name of a student. You can only return the first name. You can't have anything else in that method. You're just returning. Now, a setter though, public void, our return type is void, public set first name, and I'm going to say of string of s. And then I'm going to say first name is equal to s. But I'm not returning anything. So don't forget return type, return types, void, int, double, string, and a lot more. Doggo. Come in, doggo. When your return type is void, returns nothing. So you should always remember that getters retrieve and they return. Setters will set your information and don't return anything. Does anybody have any questions? We all good here? We all Gucci? We Gucci. Okay, we're all Gucci. Very cool. So, what I want you guys to do, if you've been following along, I want you guys to finish the getters and setters for ID number, for the last name, major, and GPA. The ID number will be the hardest. So you can just set it, you can just set the basic one for now, and then I'll show you how to do the ID number. So go ahead and work on that, and I'll be right back because I want to go eat food. I haven't done that all day. Make sure y'all remember to eat. Value your lives.
And also make sure to hydrate.
Also make sure to hydrate. Don't do what I'm doing and just drink Coke all day.
What? Jeez.
I will be back. How's everyone doing? Does anybody need any help?
I don't think any more fires have started.
No, Karina, this is my food. It is very similar to C++. I believe Java came after C++. All right, thanks for coming. Have a good day.
Yeah, Java came after C++. It was essentially trying to do what C++ did, but better, for the most part.
What is it, doggo? What is it? You want my spam? The last time you ate it, you vomited. So no, you don't get my spam. Do not get my spam, little doggo. I'll put you on my lap, and then you'll feel awkward because you don't like being seen on camera, doggy. Is that what you want? Because you can't have my spam. No, okay, that's enough. Okay, please, down. The one thing I hate about this desk is my dog can reach stuff on my desk a lot better than my other one. I think she can actually try to reach for my spam. Okay, the thing about naming, it's very, very important. So let's say I want to have a variable. Let's say it's an int. So let's say it's an int, and I try to name it one hero. Well, I can't do that. You can't have one in the beginning. You can't have this in the beginning. You can't have a semicolon in the beginning. You can't have a slash in the beginning. You want to have, you can't even have a dash in the name. So you always need to remember uppercase and lowercase number letters. One numbers cannot be the first thing in a variable name. You can do underscore doggo my spam. My spam. Okay, this is my spam. Anyway, we can have one. You can't have the number sign or hashtag the cool, as the cool kids say. So it's really important what you name things because we want to make sure that we understand as programmers that what's the point of this variable? Why is it so important? Don't name it as X or Y. If it's like a very, very repetitive variable you'll use over and over again, like GPA, major, last name, we want to know what it is and what it's doing because I don't want to figure out that X is actually some super important number and then I delete it. My spam doggo, I gave you other things. I gave you beef earlier. X and Y coordinate. Okay, yeah. I've had like for my satellite manager, I put X coord and X core and double Y core. And if you're working in a 3D plane, double Z core. And that's how I named my stuff. The only reason why, let's say, inside a for loop, if I want to use int I, it's just a throwaway variable. I'm not using it anywhere else but inside that for loop. If I catch one of you programming with everything in X, Y's, and Z's and no explanation for them, or you hand me a giant list of all the variable names that's starting from A through Z, capital and lowercase, I'm gonna have words with all of y'all. Either that or I'm going to be talking to your future professors. Y'all are my children. I need to teach you the good and right things. I can't have you doing me dirty like this. I love all of you, like all of my children. Some more than others, but I still love you all nonetheless. Or the way my band director used to say he loved all of us was, he doesn't hate any of us more, he hates all of us equally, including himself. But I don't hate all of you. I love you all. Oh, I don't know where I was going with this tangent. You're welcome. I try my best not to hate everyone. Just the people who made my life a little bit harder. So, if you're just going to tell me you used X and Y's in your programs, help yourself. Thank you. Anyway, that's the end of my bit. How's everybody so far with their programs? Let me just finish up the rest of my getters and setters. Public int. Return JP. Oh, return idnum. Public void set idnum. Return. Oh, wait. I'm doing a dumb int num and student ID equal to n. Public double set get GPA return GPA public set GPA. Who was it earlier who was asking about how to use the same word? Was it Christian? Yeah. So this is how you use it. So if you come down here and take a look, can I make this bigger for the love of my eyes? Wow, everything else but the actual code. Very cool. Thank you. Already at 18. All right, so when I say public void set GPA, and then I'll create another variable called GPA as well. So I can say for this GPA refers to the private variable. The plain old GPA refers to the GPA variable we created in parameters. Is that clear? So whenever I say I have this new GPA, the Java program will automatically know that it's talking about this GPA, this new GPA is going to be set for my private variable. All right, so do you have any more questions? If you don't know what I'm doing, I'm cheating. This is sort of how I speed through a lot of my programs. I sort of let Java auto complete all of it. Yeah, I don't need.
Well, this is more of an IntelliJ feature, right? Like other IDs usually
That's
have
why
this.
I say it's really useful.
Yeah, other IDs usually have something equivalent to this. It's just the way you make it work. Sometimes you need to go to a menu or something to type. It depends.
Yeah, I believe so. I just prefer IntelliJ because it already has the automatic click thing to do. It's also easier when I'm just writing programs on the fly, especially with classes. I'll just hit enter, and auto completes for me. So, is everybody done? If no one's done, raise your hand. If you're not done, raise your hand. All right, cool. Okay, so there's a reason why I said ID number will be very, very specific. Take a look at how I set up this ID number. It's going to be a 6-digit code. I don't want any decimals, and I need 6 numbers in it, or 6 digits. So we should have a number in like the thousands and the 100,000s with no commas. So what we're gonna do for our ID number, we're actually gonna create a special method. We're going to do something called private Boolean correct ID. And then the parameter we're taking in, we're gonna say int ID num. God. Everyone good so far? My spam. No. My rice, my spam. Let me just show what's going on down here. Karina, it mine. It my spam. No. Down. Hold on. I gave you turkey and bison food. Hold on. My spam. That's your quick little bit for doggo. Oh wait, I forgot to make Nandan a co-host. Oops. My spam. No. Okay.
Yo, I'm a co-host. Let's go.
You originally
Yay.
weren't. I don't know why. I thought I emailed everybody to be co-host, except for the people who want to learn in the stream. Well, that's anyway. Alright, so we're going to create a method to privately check if this is a valid ID number setting. So I'm going to say if so we're going to go, so if ID num is less than 99,999, return false. Is this gonna work? We're building a student. We're building a student class, Nandan.
Wait, since this is a game dev class, shouldn't the student also have health points or something?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no for now. That's I'm going to leave that alone for now. I'm not getting into any other issues like that. So is this method gonna work? Actually, I forgot to write else return true. Will this work? Don't need to simplify that. What are you eating? Pina. No. That's the receipt for my desk. And that is wood. Don't eat that. We are not going back. We are not going back to that health number. We're not going back to HP. We're not going back to that. So I'm going to tell you why this will not work. So if we're saying, let's say this number 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, is it going to pass through this parameter? Yes, Nandan, you heard that right. Because I guess I accidentally dropped my receipt for my desk. I bought a new desk. So if you actually go past this number through, you'll only get 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll go through this ID num, and it'll just say return false. What we're gonna have to do is actually make a for loop and make sure, we're gonna have to just double check if this number is valid. If for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 6, because we have 6 numbers, I plus plus, we are going to check every number and make sure it's okay. So let's say once you have a number in the millions, it's not valid. So let's say if there's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm probably going to go through with this. So num equal to 0. And then I'm going to take a look. id num dot. Wait. We're actually going to use an integer here. Integer. There's a integer is different from an int. This one's the object I was talking about earlier. I'm going to say that's not going to work either. All right. I'll go back to this method for now, but this is basically the complete version. So we don't, for now, let's not mess with the getting the set student ID num, because I'm trying to think of a way that's easier without going into very hardcore math. So this should be your whole setup. This is very zoomed in. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry if I confused you guys. Does anybody need to take a look?
Thanks for joining
Alright.
us, Dan.
Bye, Nandan. All right. So the next thing I want you guys to do. So we have our major, right? Instead of using just the string to set our major, we're also going to make a major object. So what's in a major? Like the name of the major? We've got the classes. Let's say we're only going to do, let's say we'll do an array. Does anybody know what an array is? Or you're not familiar with using an array? All right, so everybody knows what it is. And then let's say we'll also have another string for the professors. The string array for professors. And then we're gonna have one more string for who is the dean. Is it dean or department chair? I think it's department chair. If you don't know who's the head of CES, her name is Dr. Daisy Tang. Very, very nice woman. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to set up the constructors again, and then I want you guys to set up the getters and setters. You're going to have to figure out how to set, or just set up the getters and setters for this department chair and for the name of the major. Whoops. We're going to say name of major is equal to NA. We're going to say classes is equal to null. Oops. Just going to say NA. Yeah, we're just going to say, we're just going to have 5 classes for now. We'll just say NA, 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 and NA. Very cool. Thank you. So if you have an error that says no initialization allowed, you can also add to the beginning new string bracket bracket and just say NA 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 in the curly braces. And then we're going to do the same thing for professors. Professors. I can just copy and paste. Oops. And the last thing is department chair is also equal to NA. So we've got a bunch of non-applicables here. All right, see you, Sam. Bye. Don't forget, you can also ask Sam questions in the hashtag channel or hashtag questions channel. Hashtag channel.
Yes, we have a channel.
The channel.
It's for channeling.
Channeling your anger. Let your rage flow through you. All right. No, stirp. Stop. All right, and then we're gonna set up our parameter of majors. So let's say we know string name, string we're going to call this S or class array. We're also going to call this string prof array. And the last one is going to be a string chair. Very creative. You're not very creative, very straightforward as to what these things are. So I'm going to say name a major. Keyboard, stop. Stop doing things I don't like. We're going to say name our classes is equal to class array. We're going to say professors is equal to professor array or prof array. And then Doggo will go outside because she needs to pee. Go on. Go on. Go on, go potty. Thank you, Doggo. And then department chair name is equal to chair. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Doggo equal outside. All right. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up the classes in the professor's array, or the methods for those, not the arrays. I'm not showing you how to build arrays unless you don't know. I'm going to stop talking. Right. So public void set classes. So this is going to be the trickier one because we need to figure out what are the names of our professors and their classes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell the user straight off the bat, enter a name for the professor. And little tip, I'm using the print line instead of print, just so it will enter automatically. So I don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to say, Doggo. I'm going to say, we're going to need a string name. And hey, I forgot. There's one more important thing. We're going to have to get some keyboard input. So I'm coming up here to the top of my class, java.import util scanner. And this should give me a scanner. Private scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. So this is telling the user that, hey, I'm creating this scanner object, which is just going to connect to keyboard. And it's going to take in whatever I type. So now when I say I want a name, I'll say is equal to scanner dot, whoops, not that, sc dot next line. And next line is saying, take in this whole word and then I'll hit the next line, and then it'll save that name. Is anybody confused? That is an absolute meme I see there, Daniel. Doggo is somewhere. She is outside. I just should know exactly where outside. Oh, hello. Hello, Doggo. Okay. I love you, doggy. Okay. No, okay. Hope no one saw that. All right. And then we're going to say in the position of classes, let's say starting with 0 is equal to name. But how else am I going to get through the whole array? How am I going to get through the whole list of names? Anyone's got any suggestions? I'm going to call on someone if no one answers. Let's see. Who haven't I heard in a long, long time? Mikey.
For loop.
Thank you. So Mikey's right. We're going to use a for loop. So I'm going to say for int I is equal to 0. And here's the cool thing. I can say I is less than classes dot length. and I can figure out what this is saying, like, hey, I can take the length of the classes array and I can put that in instead of a number. I don't have to actually count, which is great because I can only count to 2. 1 and the other number I don't know. So I'm going to copy and paste all of this in here. For the name part, for actually saving the name, I'm going to have to say classes, bracket, I is equal to the name. Any questions? All right, so I'm going to also do the same thing for getting professors. Or setting professors, excuse me. Oh, did I say the name of the professor up here? Darn it. Glass. No one saw that. I need more Coke. If for some reason Coke does see this, please sponsor me. I'd love to drink a lot of Coke. I can just copy and paste this into here, and instead of classes, I'm going to say professors. And I'm also going to change this classes.length to professors.length. Everyone good? Who needs more time? All right, so now we're returning next line. So when I talk about next line, whoops. Next line means, okay, so let's say scanner.nextLine. This is a method from the scanners saying, take in everything I type until I hit the enter button, which is known as next line for Java. So let's say I type Katy Perry is my class, and then I hit enter. So now in my classes, for some weird reason, in let's say 0, what's saved here is Katy Perry, or Katy class, because I typed class. So if I also, let's say I also type Katy space, what's going to be saved in classes 1 is Katy space. So everything is good until you hit that enter. Now, what happens if I put just scanner.next? Yes, doggo, you can go outside. Go on. Be free, doggo. So if I say scanner.next and I try to type in Katy class again, this time in classes of 2, it'll only be Katy. because it only takes until the next entered blank space, the next blank space. Spacebar or enter button. So unless you're doing only one single name, or you have a ridiculously very, very nicer word, a very poorly educated person who just wants to abuse the system of your program, I wouldn't say don't use dot next. I always use dot next line. It just depends on the person. I personally just like next line, just so I can have the spaces in between. Now, all right, any more questions? That was a really good question, Blake. All right, we still have Gucci. Okay. So I'm going to say public. This is going to say string bracket bracket get classes. We're also going to use, darn it, we're also going to use a for loop. For, actually, instead of string, I'm going to say void. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than classes.length, I plus plus. I'm going to say system.out.print line classes bracket bracket I. So this is going to go down the list. Of printing each class name. So I'll be printing out everything here. Does that make sense? So I'm going through the whole array. I'm going through each part of the array to print out the name. And I can do that by saying classes bracket I. Gucci? All right. Does anybody need me to slow down and explain again? All right, cool. So we're also going to do the same thing for public void get professors. It's not the conditional, it's not the usual way you return things, but this is how I'm doing it because I said so. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than professor's length, I plus plus. And we are also going to say system.out.print professors bracket I. Stop. Oof. Remember, everybody, by guidelines of ASI and other things, please socially distance. Please follow social distance rules. Do not get other people sick and protect yourselves. If not yourselves, at least protect your family and friends. Because then if they get the thing, you will no longer have family and friends. Yes, Doggo, you can change your position to inside. My spam. All right, and then can you guys do now setting and getting the private chair name, the department chair, and the name of the major? system? No. Java dots, no. I just remembered that, Christian. Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna have to look that up because I can't remember it right now. I know what you're talking about though. Brain no think today. Doggo. Hello. I love you. No, it's still a related meme. My dog's always a meme. I don't know why I haven't made her like the mascot of the club. I just don't. Like, what happens after I graduate? And then she's gone. Technically, by default. Figure that out later. Anyways, so make sure you guys continue and finish your getters and setters for department chair and name of major. All right, does anybody need any help with the getter and setters? Or are we all good? Oh, whoops. All right, so when everybody's done, type POG in chat. Scanner is right up here. I am saying import java.util. I'm going into the utilities library and I'm saying I want to import only the scanner because I'm not going to take the whole darn time to import the whole utilities library. If I wanted to, for some weird reason, I would say import java.util.star or asterisk, or what I like to hear, carrot top. Why is it called carrot top? I don't even know. But since I already have my scanner here, I've already done that. And then the next thing I would say is private scanner. So no one can access or mess with my scanner. Is equal to a new scanner and system.in saying we are taking input. It's not the output or the middle put, it's the input. We don't have that either. I don't even know which way is right or left, but we're not doing that. You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? All right, Kayla, Roger, Christian, how's everybody else? We're not gonna have too long. I'm just gonna show like how to build the getters and setters. It's gonna be quick, and then that'll be the end of the workshop. I'm also gonna go over what we're gonna expect for the next workshop. Daniel, is it your turn for the workshop? I believe you're also working on pixel art with Nandan.
Yeah, I don't. Was that next? I'll check.
It's either that or we're going into another Unity tutorial.
Oh, it is pixel art next week.
It is pixel art? Cool.
Yeah, and then we have Blender after that.
Very cool. I don't remember what I was doing. God, can you auto do this stuff for me? I'm too lazy to do this. Oh, it's not auto doing stuff for me. Why not? There we go. So next time we do Streaming to Learn, we'll show how to use these classes. Cheesy shiitake mushrooms. There we go. All right. So this should be your whole code for teacher. Does anybody need to look over teacher or student? If everyone's good in chat, just do a reaction, like raise your hand or thumbs up. All right, thank you, Mikey. All right, everyone good?
Yeah.
All right, so that is the end of our workshop. So the next time we'll do a Streaming to Learn, we will be talking about how to use these classes and more complex methods for classes. And then our next workshop is Pixel Art with Nandan and Daniel next week. And then our next meeting, we'll be going over, our next general meeting, we'll be talking about how to do Scrum. Is anybody doing a game pitch or is doing the mentorship? Does anybody need the links for the mentorship or the game pitches? You do not need to have experience with building games to do a game pitch. And we take in all types of people for the mentorship, whether you want to be a mentee or a mentor. You all good? Does anybody, no one needs the links? All right, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm just gonna drop this in chat really quick, just because it's a little useful. I'll also post some examples of game pitches I've done, like I've seen in the past, including my own and Daniel's. And I believe that should be it. So thank you guys for coming to this week's workshop. I'm sorry it's really short, but we're just gonna jump in and start reviewing and getting back into the swing of things for school. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us in #questions, concerns, or in the lobby, game dev help. And then if you have any suggestions, also drop that into the suggestions channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and check out our website.
Smash that like and subscribe button.
Hit that like button and click the bell if you want to keep following us. When we reach 100 subscribers, I'll do a dab every time I mention the word Java.